Hello, YouTube. It's your girl Denise, and we're back with Joseline's Cabaret Season 4, Episode 5. I hope everybody's doing okay. I know we're having crazy natural disasters all over the world. So I hope that you're safe and you're keeping your family safe and everything's well with you guys. Now, I feel like Episode 5 is very heavily produced and contrived by Zeus Network. They split the girls up into three groups. There are three main questions that the producers are going to have these girls talk about, which is about the auditions in the day before, what their thoughts were on that. The second question is they're going to talk about Lucky's return. And the third question is about Precious and Holiday, how they were exes and how they feel being next to each other in the same house. We open with Daisy and Abby having their conversation at the table, but then you can also see Lucky in the background just waiting for her cue to enter. And then Miss Natural later comes strolling in. Now, I'm not really surprised that Daisy convinced the other girls to let Lucky back in the house last episode because, I mean, yeah, they kind of had like some beef in season one, but Daisy's beef was originally with Jay, which was Lucky's friend at the time. And I think Lucky had said in an interview that her and Jade aren't really as good friends anymore. So Daisy and Lucky never really had a problem with each other. I guess Lucky was just trying to defend her friend at the time. And I also don't think that there's anything Lucky can say to convince Joseline to forgive her. But Joseline is sending Lucky mixed signals because it's like, why would you let the other girls vote for Lucky to stay unless you anticipated that they were going to let her go. But if you really didn't want her in the house, then you could have just told her to not come back. And then with Abby's situation, with her and Joseline taking her to the back room to look at her vagina, she says she doesn't want her emotions to get in the way, which I hope that doesn't mean that Abby felt uncomfortable showing Joseline her vagina. I would hope that Abby didn't do that to secure her spot on the show. Like, if Abby doesn't feel comfortable showing Jocelyn her vagina, I don't feel like she should have had to. Because that is a little intrusive. That is a little uncomfortable. We then cut to group number two, which has Spin, Andrea, Danny, Precious, and Yummy. You can definitely tell Yummy is more comfortable with these group of girls. But I don't know why the producers asked her to talk about Precious and Holiday. I assume because I don't think Yummy really cares about their situation. But Precious says that her and Holiday were together like 14 years ago, which these girls look younger, like they don't look that old. So I feel like 14 years ago for them, they were probably together as kids. I don't think their breakup was as dramatic as adult breakups can tend to be. So I think that's why they're still like somewhat friendly to this day. We then cut to Miss Natural and how Miss Natural eventually had to realize that this is Jocelyn's show, so Miss Natural has to just avoid doing the things that Jocelyn doesn't like, regardless if she agrees with them or not, which it sucks. But it's like if you've ever had a boss, you can kind of relate to this situation. But I think with Lucky, like even if she wore a smile on her face every time Jocelyn walked in the room, I feel like Jocelyn would still give her a hard time. Because I feel like there's something deeper because Jocelyn just keeps calling Lucky a blood-sucking vampire. Like whatever that means. But Lucky hasn't started a single piece of drama this whole show. So there's something definitely deeper between Jocelyn and Lucky that we're not getting, and that Jocelyn is not coming out and saying. And I don't want to necessarily see Miss Natural and Yummy apologize to each other and find that sisterhood that they had because in like the first few episodes of season two, Miss Natural and Yummy were actually like really good or close friends at the time. But I guess when Yummy just started lying about them sleeping with each other and Yummy was lying about her age, that just turned Miss Natural off. Because who likes liars? And then for group three, we have Miss Holiday, Wet Wet, T Love, and Miss Egypt. And they start debating whether Wet Wet is the weakest link of the bunch. I'm not sure if she's the weakest link of the bunch. I feel like all the girls are equally weak. Like besides the top four that Jocelyn already picked, I can't really tell the other girls apart from each other. And then T Love just starts going in on Wet Wet, like everything about her from head to toe. And I don't necessarily disagree with what she's saying. T Love didn't say any lies, but it's just the way that she delivered Wet Wet. Like, why were you trying to demean Wet Wet and hurt her feelings as much as possible? And you can tell Wet Wet was hurt as much as Wet Wet tries to play it off and twerk it off or whatever she was doing. She didn't have to deliver it to Wet Wet like that. And T Love might be talking about Wet Wet's hair, but I don't like T Love's hair either. Like the ramen noodles that she has going on, I don't like it. And her attitude is getting just worse each episode. Now Miss Holiday is a little bit on the more nicer and social extroverted side of things, but I honestly don't think any of these girls really even like each other. Like they're just tolerating each other. And Egypt's body language is just off in this scene. She's not really engaging with the girl. She's just kind of standing there rolling her eyes and just quiet. It's only when they start talking about Precious that Egypt starts lighting up and participating in the conversation. So after we've heard from the three groups, the girls get in the kitchen and start dancing on each other and partying. And I like that even the producers are getting into it as well, whoever this guy in the red shirt is. But if you notice, Yummy is the only person that's missing. Not that I don't think that that means anything, but I just wanted to point it out. But then we cut to the girls rehearsing downstairs, and they all still kind of look off. Like some of them are getting better, but in general, as a group, they're not in sync with each other. And I love Abby, but she is so lost trying to dance. But at least Yumi is here at rehearsals, and we get to see her natural hair, which I think is so cute. And I'm definitely not just saying that because we have the same hair, but she looks good, and I hope that she wears it more. And then Jocelyn decides that she's going to surprise the girls by showing up to rehearsals. And I just love how the first thing she does is very mom like. It's like look through the house, make sure it's clean, and then raids the fridge. And of course, she can't help herself. She just has to tell the girls that they stink, even when they've been rehearsing all day. Like they're sweating. Of course, they're gonna smell. And Jocelyn just kicks Lucky out of the room, even though Lucky wasn't doing anything. Just the sight of Lucky pisses Jocelyn off. And at that point, me personally, I would have already packed my stuff and left because Lucky, she doesn't even have a bed in that house. And then Jocelyn's still treating her like she doesn't exist. But maybe I think with Lucky's financial situation, maybe she feels like she has to be on that show, which I can't fault her for that. Like, I completely understand. Do whatever that you have to do to get your money. I did look up Lucky's uh cosmetic brand. It's called Cloverology and it's still up. Like the website is still up. So I know that she's still running her business, which is good. And I wish her all the success with her business. And Ricardo was really taken up for Lucky in this scene. He was like the only one speaking for Lucky. So I think that just proves to show that Lucky was really, she was dancing really well and that she deserves to have another chance with Jocelyn. But that just pisses Jocelyn off. And then she tells Ricardo to just do his job, which I got scared for a moment. I was like, please don't fire him. He's the best thing that's happened to this cabaret. Then we have Wet Wet and T Love arguing in the background. Now Jocelyn comes to check up on them and see what they're arguing about. Wet Wet is saying that T Love is a different person when the cameras are off. T Love gets very hostile when the cameras are rolling with Wet Wet, which we saw for ourselves in the kitchen scene. And like, if I was Wet Wet and you just went in on me and called me ugly and called me everything, I definitely would not be sitting next to you on the couch. It would be beef between me and you forever. So I believe Wet Wet when she says that T Love is a nice person off the cameras because she's sitting next to her on the couch. But it seems like T Love has been in Wet Wet's ear all day, just nagging, and Wet Wet just finally had enough and she went off. And the whole time, Jocelyn just has a smile on her face, like she's just amused and entertained by Wet Wet, which is sad because you could tell Wet Wet was really frustrated in this moment with how her face was looking. So Wet Wet decides to stand up on the couch and start swinging on T Love. And I don't know how Wet Wet still ended up on the floor, but you had the advantage of being higher up on the couch and you still fumbled. So, with all that fighting energy in the air, for the previews, we get Daisy and Egypt getting into it, but there's no clue as to what they're fighting about. So, we're just gonna have to wait for the next episode. But Daisy did not get a single punch in. Like, she might have been the aggressor, but Miss Egypt was just laying those punches. Oh my God. And security is definitely holding Daisy back more than Egypt. So we just get a clip of Daisy bleeding, which I'm not going to show because it's a little disturbing. But we get to see this FaceTime of Daisy in the hospital. Clearly, she has stitches. She has like bandages or something on her neck or like her chin area and the ice on the head. And even through all that, she's just like, I feel fine. I'm fine. And Miss Wetwood is also injured. I wonder what she's injured with because she's not in the hospital. So I think she just has like a sprained ankle or a limp or something. We also get a clip of Joseline sitting down with T Love, and T Love starts crying about how the other girls think she's a bully, which I think that she is. I know that I have started not to like her, but all she has to do is just stop trying to correct people and be like the morality police that she thinks that she is. And she keeps going on about how she's like a real bee and she's gonna always speak her mind and say whatever. But it's not benefiting you in the situation. I feel like T Love, you should just lay low and be quiet. Then Jocelyn also sits down with Egypt. Egypt's hair is completely gone. And Jocelyn is basically telling her not to fight because she hurt Daisy pretty bad and she's stronger than a lot of the other girls. You can see that her nail came off and like the left side of her body is all red and scratched up. She's obviously not happy about the situation. And I think the most important part about the clips and the previews is how Jocelyn, like I said before, is really treating these girls like they're her kids. So sometimes you're going to get the really compassionate side of Jocelyn, and other times you're going to get the really rude side of Jocelyn, which I feel like mothers can be rude with their daughters sometimes, especially if there's like some jealousy or animosity between them two, just like what she has with Lucky in this scene. And she basically tells Lucky that the only way that they are going to solve their problem is for Lucky to leave. So we'll see if Lucky decides to leave after next week. I feel like for her sanity, she should. Like, we're not going to see her dance, and that's going to be really sad. But I want Lucky to be in a peaceful state of mind. So at that point, I feel like Lucky should pack up her stuff and go. And that's going to do it for this week. Next week is episode 6, which is typically the halfway point for Jocelyn's Cabaret. I think we finally have a good idea on the new girls and how the rest of this cabaret is going to play out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that Lucky is going to stay? And who else is also going to get into a fight next week? Can't wait to hear from you guys, and I will see you next week for episode 6. Bye.